Hey guys, have you been feeling a little bit stuck lately? Maybe you've been feeling tired, frustrated, a little bit stressed or anxious. You're maybe just sitting there thinking, I thought once I was in alignment that things were going to be easy. They were going to be high vibe, they were going to be in flow, they were going to feel energetic and expansive. But yet, they're not. I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing the gratitude. I'm doing the journaling. I'm doing the I am statements. Maybe I'm even listening to some guided meditation and hypnosis. Self-care. And I'm giving my body and my mind what they need. I'm listening to my intuition. But something doesn't feel right. I'm still tired. What gives? I have been feeling that way for the last 2 weeks. And I finally got to the bottom of it. And let me tell you guys, it was not what I thought it would be. And if I had not gotten it in check quickly, it would have derailed my brand, my business, my career, potentially my life. Not to be melodramatic, but that's how severe of an impact this level of resistance can have and how sneaky it can be, because I had no idea I was feeling resistance. I thought I was following my intuition. And for somebody that's been doing a lot of work on understanding upper limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, and intuition, I mean, I'm new to it still, but I've basically devoted the last 6 months of my life into learning this shit, and I had no clue. It blindsided me like you would not believe, guys. So I am here today to give you a recounting of what has happened in the last 2 weeks, what brought me to this blog post to you today. But before we cut to the story, and normally I don't edit my videos too much, but guys, I yammered on this one for like 2 hours. Nobody wants to listen to me for 2 hours. So it's been shortened. So that you might find that it's a little jumpy in some spots. But before we get to it, and I have this plea for you. If you are the person who is saying, yes, I feel tired, yes, I don't feel in energetic alignment, but I know I'm doing the right shit, and this video is not for me. If that is you that is sitting there saying, this video is not for me because I don't have limiting beliefs, I dealt with them already, I promise you, you are who this video is for. You are the reason I went through this and made this video. Not like you're the reason I went through the struggle, but you're the reason I'm sharing this. Because that's where I was literally 48 hours ago. I was skipping through podcasts that talked about limiting beliefs because I thought I had fixed them all. And lo and behold, there was nothing further from the truth. So please, if you are that person that is literally hitting resistance on listening to a podcast or this YouTube video about your resistance, that should be a light bulb for you. Please, please, please listen through to the whole video. I know it's a bit of a long one. Going on this self-improvement journey, you will hit limiting beliefs and you will hit resistance. I promise you. If you think you haven't yet, you haven't been pushing yourself hard enough, or you're hitting them and you don't know. In my case, it was both. So thank you very much for being here. I really, really hope that this is valuable for you. This experience knocked my socks off, to be entirely honest with you, and I am really excited. It might sound silly. It sucked to go through it, I won't lie. But I'm super excited and grateful to have had it so that I can share it with you guys today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Confession time. This is going to be really, really good, but really, really hard. I learned it. It felt super important to share it with you guys. I just don't know why, but it just feels like probably a lot of other people are going through the same thing, or maybe have the same misconceptions that I did, and maybe therefore that will be inhibiting whether or not they can recognize these important signs like it did for me. So I'm really excited to get this out there for you. But this is also something that makes me feel very vulnerable. It's a level of honesty that I hadn't really considered having with the blog yet. And even though this is technically only my second post, that is something that I guess makes me a little nervous. So bear with me. I hit so much resistance in hitting play today, hitting record, today. So much resistance in recording this. It has just been a crazy resistance-full week. So I'm holding on to this guy to keep my energy and keep my power going. So let's start from the beginning. I have a confession. I have a confession to make for all of you. In the last 2 weeks, I have been studiously recording vlogs for you guys. I had this really cool idea, and I still think it's a really good idea, just for context. So if you guys like this, if you think this is a dope idea and you would like to hear more of it, like drop me a comment. So the idea for the vlog was to kind of do like a couple minutes here and there throughout the day, like morning, afternoon, evening, at least 5 minutes here and there each day, talking about like what worked, what didn't. Did I have a cool revelation throughout the week? Did I forget to journal? Did shit hit the fan? Like whatever, just to go through the week so that I could see it and I could see the results, but then also that you guys could kind of start seeing it. What does it actually look like 3 months into this manifestation journey? What does that actually look and feel like? How many times do you like? I know every person that makes it says, "Oh, I got into a fight with my partner," but like, how many times did you actually get in a fight with your partner? How vicious were they? And it's not that I need to see it to believe it. I guess I wanted my tribe. Like, you know how you have your girlfriends and you're all sitting around with your girlfriends? Maybe if you're a guy watching this, you don't know what this is like. But you know how you all sit around with your girlfriends and you're like all talking about like horror stories of your past boyfriends or girlfriends. Or you're like, I don't know, just telling goofy stories and you just like, you bond over that. And I guess because I don't know anyone else personally going through this journey, I was looking for that in recordings and in blogs and online, and I couldn't find it. That was my idea. I still think it's a really good one. If y'all love it, drop me a comment below and I will provide it for you, I promise. So anyways, here's the really great idea. But the confession is, I have been recording these things for 2 weeks. Do you see anywhere on my YouTube a weekly vlog? 2 of them, in fact. Do you see 2 of them? Probably not. I'm going to hazard that you don't, because they don't exist. And this is the confession that I have to make for you. And this is where the story really picks up and where I recognize that I was kind of feeling some resistance without even knowing it. That shit is sneaky, you guys. So here's what happened. In both weeks, on Monday, the first week was still at my day job, my like regular job. It was my last week. And then the second week was actually a week of staycation at home. I did not have any work to do. I had Monday to Friday, no commitments other than Wednesday. I took my parents to the hospital for some routine checkups. No commitments. Let's keep that in mind. That's important. Okay. So first week, Tuesday, I record so much stuff, guys. Hours and hours and hours. Like more than any human. I felt so good and so high vibe. I recorded like a full hour in the morning of like getting ready, what my morning routine is like, my like morning reflections, check in at lunchtime. I did a recording in the early afternoon. I did one in the evening before bed. Like so much content. I probably could have made one whole like hour-long post just out of Tuesday. Wednesday, zilch. Thursday, I think I got about 4 or 5 hours. And while this was happening, you guys are probably kind of getting an idea of what was going on here. I was convincing myself, oh, I've got tons of content. Oh, I've got tons of content because I crushed it on Monday. And so that positive reinforcement of how much I crushed it on Monday or Tuesday, really spilled over into the rest of the week. And I was convinced when I came to Saturday that I had a whole week's worth of like incredible, incredible content. I literally believed that. So then we come to the week where I have the week off. Same thing. Monday, crushed it. Tons of great stuff. I had gone to Shakti. I showed you guys all my crystals. I like did this amazing, amazing recording. We talked about cleansing crystals, why it's important. I had my dad's birthday and I had some stuff going on with my sister. So we talked about like moving through negative emotions and meditation. Like, guys, I had lots of cool stuff. And I'll probably still use a lot of that content, just so you guys know, like you're not going to lose it. It's not completely gone. But I only recorded on Monday and Wednesday. I didn't record anything on Tuesday. I did not record anything on Thursday, nothing on Friday, and nothing on Saturday. So tell me, how good of a week in the life of vlog can I make when I have 2 out of 7 days? Not very good. But the thing is, though, I was so convinced, I was totally convinced up until literally yesterday that I had 2 full weeks worth of content. My brain had told me that. And I knew that the end of the week was going to be a little light, but I didn't realize I literally had nothing. I did not realize that I literally did not hit record on a camera or on any device from Thursday through to Sunday. I had no idea. I just knew it was going to be light. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm so high vibe. This is so great. I've got all this content. I can't wait. Like, I've been putting off editing it a little bit. I've been procrastinating on editing it, but that's just my personality profile, and I don't really like doing that kind of stuff. So, like, I'll do it, but, like, I'm going to do it on Saturday night. Perfect. So I'm going to do it on Saturday night. I prioritize it. I get my laptop out. I open all my videos. I organize them, and I go, there has got to be some shit missing here. Because where's Thursday? Where's Tuesday? Man, where's Friday? And then I'm thinking, like, what did I do on these days? What did I do on Tuesday and Thursday? I didn't actually hit the record button. Yep. And holy hell, you guys, that spun me like you will not believe, because I was convinced that I had done all of this recording, and especially last week or the week before where I was off work. Like, what the F was I doing with my time? Because the whole time I was like, I'm going to get this blog up and running, and I'm going to get so much stuff posted. I'm going to get my vlog up, and like, I'm going to blow up Instagram, and I'm going to do all of these things, and roar, hear me roar. That was what my week was supposed to be. It was supposed to be for you guys. That's what I told myself. It was for you guys. And that's what I wanted. That's what resonated with me, because I know once you get into a new routine with a new job, it's really hard to make those priorities. And so it was meant to be for you guys. That's why I took that time off. And yet here we are, 2 whole weeks. And guess what? I haven't posted anything because I didn't have anything. Not proud of it. I hit a wall. I fell into frustration and anger so hard last night. Like, I wish I had remembered that I had this guy, because, guys, I lost my mind. Like, the things that I said to myself last night are things that I would literally never say to another living soul ever, because they would crush them. Have you ever, like, does that resonate with you guys? Have you been through those moments where, like, you say shitty things to yourself when you're mad at yourself? Like, why do we do that? Like, I would never say these things out loud to a human, whether they were a stranger, whether they were someone I hated. I would just never say them, because they were mean. And I just don't like making other people feel bad. Yeah, I was just really, really hard on myself. And there was a really bad string of things that were really, really going through my head. And man, I was disappointed. I was so disappointed. So to not waste the evening, and that's one thing I'm really proud of myself, is I actually listened to, I'm in a masterclass with a few other wonderful women that is hosted by my life coach, Allison Braun. And I had to miss one of the calls because I had just started my new job. So I had the recording, and I was listening to the recording. So I decided to do that, because I was like, I had my whole evening blocked off for editing, and then found out I had no videos, and I just lost my mind. So I was like, okay, then maybe, because I had asked Allison a couple questions about energy that we'll get to in a minute, so maybe I'm going to listen to this video. So I listened to this video, helped a little bit. It really did, because I was like such in a negative headspace that I just wasn't there yet. And then I did share in the group. I like verbal diarrheaed this like massive long like, rah, I hate myself. What's wrong with me? I'm broken. I'm undeserving. I'm unworthy. I just can't figure this shit out. Like, all of those bad things that you have said to yourself every time you've disappointed yourself, I just unloaded that all onto the page. And honestly, I felt resistance in sharing it and admitting I wasn't perfect. And then I felt resistance in posting it and feeling like a whiny brat. So resistance is such a wonderful thing. I'm so glad we're talking about this today. So what did we do about it, and why are we talking about it today? What actually happened to me in those 2 weeks? Why was I so upset? Why? What happened? If I can't get my ass together to write a single blog post while I am on a staycation, what am I doing with my life, guys? Like, actually, what am I doing with my life? And so I want to hit a little pause button right here. And I know that you listening to this or watching this, you might not be making a blog. You might never want to make a blog. You might never endeavor to make a blog. You might never endeavor to make a vlog. You might never endeavor to launch your own business. But I can promise you that every single person listening to this at some point in their life has said, I want to do something better than what I'm doing right now. Whether that is cooking a better meal, going to the gym more often, losing a little bit of weight, having better relationships with your friends and family, like having a $5,000 increase in your salary job. Whatever it is, I promise you that if you're listening to this, it is because at some point in the last month, you have said, there is something that I want that I do not have right now, and I'm going to need to up level to get that. And it might be a small up level, and it might be a big one. But I promise you, if you have had that thought, then this is so important for you to understand. And I know this is like, wow, you just couldn't get your shit together for 2 weeks. That's what it sounds like. But the thing is, that's not the reality of what happened. I mean, it is, but there's so much more deeper. That is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more 95% underneath that we really need to dive into, because otherwise you're going to go through the same thing. And I'm trying to help you not have to experience that, I promise. So whether you are just trying to like meal prep for the week, stick to a budget, spend more time on self-care, spend more time with your kids, like whatever it is, spend more time with your cats in my case, I don't have kids. Whatever that thing is, if there's something in your life that you want to change and improve, then this is going to be very, very valuable. So please listen in. In the last month or 2 months that you've decided that you wanted to up level, I've got some questions for you guys. In the last month or 2 months that you've been up leveling, I'm certain that somewhere in the last month, unless you've already achieved that thing, in which case kudos, but if you were still working on it, then that means you haven't achieved it yet. And a month is a pretty long time to achieve most of those smaller goals. So that means that you're hitting some kind of resistance. I'm certain you have said these things to yourself. You always do this. You start things, but you cannot follow through. How many times have you said that to yourself in some variety this week or this month? I never have time to do the things that I want. I don't know how to take care of even myself, so I'm not worthy of taking care of anyone else. And I'm so focused on enjoying the now that I lose sight of the future. Do any of those resonate with you? Have you said any of those to yourself? I promise you, when I was in the spirals yesterday, I was saying all of those things to myself. All of them. And they were meaner. There was definitely more expletives in them. They were mean. But it's important to hear that. Like, how many of those, even if you think, oh, I never said that to myself, how many of them stabbed you in the heart a little? Like, I never have time to do the things that I want. I never prioritize the things that I say I'm going to prioritize. How many times, like, when you hear that, does that make you go, like somebody stabbed me, somebody poked me somewhere in my body? Okay. What about I suck at budgeting? I'm incapable of sticking to a budget. What about I am not worthy of being fill in the blank? I am not worthy of being pretty, beautiful, hot. I'm not worthy of being wealthy, having a 6-figure income, driving a nice car. I am not worthy of being successful, having a multi-million-dollar business, climbing the corporate ladder. Do any of those resonate with you? Maybe just a little? Probably right now my guess is that they don't, because you're not letting yourself feel them. Because that's the sneaky thing about limiting beliefs, guys. If we knew they were limiting beliefs, we wouldn't have them just by virtue of the name. But pay attention to which ones feel like they're stabbing you a little bit, because that's usually a pretty good sign. I know that sucks, but it's usually a pretty good sign. Or the one that, I don't know why, but this one hit me hard. It is actually hard for me to say it. I am broken. That one killed me. I don't know where I got that from, guys. If you had asked me 12 hours ago if I thought I was broken, I'd have been like, hells no. I had a broken hand, I healed it. I had a broken pelvis, I healed it. I got lots of broken bones, I healed them. I heal, that's what I do. I heal my body, I get hurt, and I heal it. I am no longer broken. I am whole, I am worthy, I am confident, I am lioness, hear me roar. Like, that's what I would have told you. But yet, man, it wasn't real. I mean, it was, but it wasn't 100% real. Let's talk about what that means. Because probably you're thinking right now, just like I was, who in their right mind would actually think that about themselves? Probably none of you have actually thought that, or maybe very few times, particularly when you've been like really, really stressed. It's probably pretty rare for you to go walking down the street thinking, I'm a piece of shit. Most people aren't doing that, right? That's just the way it is. I hope not, anyways. Very few people, probably not the people watching this, are thinking that. I certainly wasn't thinking that, but I was thinking I was unworthy, I was undeserving, I was incapable, I was broken. Those things I was for sure feeling. It wouldn't exist if I knew it was a limiting belief. So the really great example, like these things just show up as truths in your life because your brain literally rewires the way that it sees the world, the way that it perceives. It's called confirmation bias. Like you can Google it if you want a little more info. Your brain literally wires your perception of the world to fit your beliefs, and then your reality ends up following your beliefs because, as we know, that reflects into our manifestation. So if I'm walking around subconsciously thinking I am worthy, then guess what? I am going to continually see signs and symbols. Even though it's subconscious, I am going to subconsciously see validation and reinforcement of that belief everywhere I go. Okay? So that's limiting beliefs, step one, really important thing. So it's limiting beliefs that get turned into upper limits or self-sabotaging. So I think it's super important, again, to just stop here. And if you are that person, because this was me, that is sitting there going, who in the hell would ever say that about themselves? This message isn't for me. I don't want to listen to this video. This video doesn't resonate with me. I challenge you right now, you who thinks you're going to hit skip because this isn't for you. You don't think that way. You know you're the shit. You know you're good. You are going to watch till the end of this video because you are who this video is for, because you don't even know your resistance. You are feeling it right now by wanting to skip this screen. That is your resistance, and we're going to get there. Give me 20 more minutes. I know that's long. Give me 20 more minutes. I promise you it will be worth it. After I had my pity party last night, and a little bit this morning, I'll be honest, a little bit this morning too. I listened to some Catherine Zinkina. I listened to some Brooke Castillo. I listened to some James Wedmore. I focused on doing everything other than my blog so that I couldn't get caught up in it. I was like, I'm going to do everything and set myself up for success, because I had also, on top of not doing my vlog, you guys, in the last 2 weeks, I developed some shitty freaking habits. I was sleeping in late, I was skipping the gym, I wasn't meal prepping, I was indulging in food I shouldn't have been indulging in, I wasn't drinking enough water, I was drinking more alcohol than usual. Guys, I even picked up smoking again. Now, you're gonna be like, holy shit, I didn't know you smoked. Yeah, you're not alone. Most people don't, because I'm an athlete, and that's dumb. What athlete do you know that smokes? None. That just goes to show how strong your limiting beliefs can sometimes be. Really freaking strong. And I haven't smoked in ages, long time. And I thought, oh, put that on the shelf, dealt with that limiting belief, dealt with that issue, we're good to go. Nuh-uh. Popped up again last week when I'm doing all this positive work and I'm thinking, man, I'm really kicking ass. I am listening to my intuition, and I am journaling when I want to journal, and I am reading when I want to read, and I'm doing yoga when I want to do yoga, and I am sleeping when I want to sleep. And that also meant I was smoking when I wanted to smoke, and I was drinking when I wanted to drink, and I was just indulging. I was like living like royalty, guys, and it felt good. But here's the thing though, like I was screwing around at work. I almost showed up late to work. I was forgetting to bring lunches. My house was a disaster. I hadn't meal prepped any food. I was not set up for success. I was just living in chaos, and I had completely moved so far backwards. So far backwards. And it was just not good. It was just not good. And then it's terrifying to me to think that I was, like, if I look back and you guys are hearing this, you're probably like, you idiot, how did you not know that smoking was self-sabotage? Like, how did you not pick up on that? Great freaking question, guys. I don't know. I should have picked up on it. But the thing is, I didn't. I thought I was in alignment. I legit did. The other thing that came up a lot is I was tired all the time. And I got so frustrated because I was just drained. I was so drained. I'm a manifesting generator from human design. I'm a Leo from astrology. I'm a dragon in the Chinese zodiac. Like, I got energy coming out, like sparks coming out of my ass, you guys. Like, energy out the wazoo. Even when I don't know what to do with it, even when I'm not in alignment. People comment on it all the time. Where's all your energy come from? Why do you talk so fast? Why are you so passionate? Why are you so charismatic? Like, I have to take a breath when I'm vlogging because I run out of breath. Like, these things are just part of me. They're part of who I am. And last week, I was so tired. I was so tired. And I was napping all the time. And I thought, okay, this is my body just trying to tell me a sign. Like, it's trying to give me a hint that I need to be sleeping more. And maybe I just didn't sleep enough in the last few weeks. So, like, I'm just going to listen and I'm going to nap here. And then I'm going to go out for a smoke or like go hang out outside and talk to my neighbor or like whatever. And all of these things just sucked my energy and slowed down time. And all of a sudden I started to feel panic because I felt like time was a limited resource. I started to feel scarcity mindset around time because guess what? I mean, time doesn't have to be a limited resource, but when you're sleeping through half the day and smoking for a bunch of it and drinking for a bunch of it, guess what? Gets limited pretty fast, guys. Sure does. So all of a sudden I was in the scarcity mindset, and we all know that nothing good comes from that. So suffice to say that I had these trends where I was feeling scarcity mindset about time. I was sleeping more than I should be. I wasn't following my personal integrity and doing the things that I wanted to do or get done in a day. I wasn't vlogging the way that I had promised myself I would. I wasn't blogging the way that I promised myself I would. I wasn't even spending time with friends and family. I just really shut down. I became very internal, which is fine if you're doing any kind of inner work, but I wasn't. I really shut down. I really told myself, and I really truly believed that I was listening to my intuition, that I was resting when I needed rest, that I was eating when I needed to eat, that I was creating when I needed to create, that I was eating what I needed to eat, that I was indulging in this rich version of myself. I was convinced, but I was wrong. I thought, oh, if I'm practicing gratitude and I'm journaling and doing my I am statements, I got this. This is for sure the living richly version of myself. This is for sure the high vibe version of myself. I've got this under control. And I was wrong. I was so wrong, guys. So wrong. I'm sure you're starting to see some of the self-sabotaging trends coming up here. And looking back, it seems crazy to me that I did not see them as well. But that's the problem, you guys. Like, upper limits, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, they're sneaky mofos. They're sneaky. They're so sneaky because if we knew they were there, we would not follow them. We would not have limiting beliefs if we knew that they were there and we knew that they existed. I do not walk down the street thinking, oh, there's a limiting belief, there's a limiting belief, there's a limiting belief. No, nobody does that. There's actually a really great, the podcast by James Wedmore. I can't remember the number, I'll put it down below, but James, and I think it's Dr. Michaela he has on with him. They say, fill in the blank for me, guys. Just encourage me, or just entertain me for a second. Indulge me for a moment, please. Roses are red. Violets are what? Did you say blue? Probably, right? But are violets actually blue? I mean, no. They're purple. They're violet, right? They're purple. Everybody knows that. They're purple. But we just said they were blue. Well, how can they be both blue and purple? I mean, I guess they can be a color in between. The point here is that if you have been told something your whole life, violets are blue, you will believe it no matter what. Even if you logically and intuitively know it to be false, you will believe that violets are blue even though you know logically that they are purple. That is how sneaky this stuff can be. And for me, that is what showed up in resistance. Like, I always thought whenever I read about resistance anywhere else, I think it's going to come up as fear or anxiety. And guys, I just don't feel those things the way that other people do. And I know that makes me really fortunate, but I spent a lot of my life, my childhood, being afraid of and fearful of situations. And I didn't let that define me. I don't know what came over me as a kid. Like, I wish I could tell you what it was, but something scared me and I did it anyways. Like, as a kid, I developed the feel the fear, do it anyways. Feel the fear, do it anyways. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have limiting beliefs. Of course I did. It just means that they manifested in a different way, which, because I wasn't looking for them there until literally this weekend, I had no clue that they were running rampant on me like this. So what were they? How were they showing up? They were showing up in the form of resistance, not in fear, not in anxiety, but falsely guided intuition. They were showing up in me being tired. I know I'd have these crazy blips of energy, and then all of a sudden, like, I would go straight down. But like, that's not me. I don't lack in energy, like, literally ever in my freaking life have I ever lacked in energy. But all of a sudden I would get this really great inspiration idea. I'd go and hit record and boom, like, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was exhausted. It's really strange, right? Or I would get headaches, or my stomach would bug me, like all of these really strange things. I would crave a cigarette, right? Like a non-smoker, why am I craving to get outside and to escape my recording gear? Not that I don't love being outside. I could have recorded outside though. Like, why was I craving that? Why was I craving an excuse to go outside that I knew I would be fearful of or shameful of? Why would I crave that? It just seems strange, right? What were some other examples? Indulgence, like indulgence in food, indulgence in lack of personal integrity, like not being on time, not showing up for myself, not showing up for my friends, not answering the phone when people were calling me, like just all these like shitty, really childish brat-like behaviors. And I was exhibiting all of them, but I would have never known that that was resistance, because nobody tells you resistance will look like being tired. Everyone tells you that when you're in alignment, your energy is going to be boundless, especially if you're a generator or a manifesting generator. Like, shit's just going to keep happening and you are going to love it and it is going to be great. Nobody tells you that your body might shut down on you as instead of fear, instead of anxiety. I did not feel a single twinge of anxiety until specifically when I hit record today. And I felt tired before today. And I craved a cigarette before today, before I hit record. That was the first time I felt anxiety before hitting the record button. I don't honestly feel it because I think my body knows, and my mind, my ego knows, that if I feel fear or I feel anxiety, that's a motivator for me. If you give me fear, I'm going to be like, doing it even faster now, doing it even harder now, doing it even better now. But if you give me exhaustion on my week off, well, I'm probably going to take a nap. Like, well, who wouldn't? If you give me indulgence in the week that I'm celebrating a new job with a substantial pay increase, you're probably going to indulge, right? Who wouldn't? And like, that's how sneaky it is that I thought this was my intuition. I thought, honestly, and I know it sounds silly now, but when you're learning what your intuition feels like, you've repressed it your entire life, man, I don't know. An idea came up into my head. I sat with it. It felt good, so I went with it. But that's the other key here, is that human behavior does not continue if it isn't either positively rewarded or leads to survival, assistive survival from an evolutionary perspective. And people will say, well, there's a bunch of give me examples. Like, I can think of a billion things that are not positively reinforced. And I promise you, it always is one of those two things. Human behavior is always positively reinforced in some way, or it leads to additional chances of survival, higher or increased chances of survival. Because that's why we do things. That's why as humans we do things. It's just the way it works, guys. So how is it that I just decided to do these things? Because they were positively reinforced. Let's use the example of somebody who wants to go to the gym more often, or who's trying to keep on a diet. Let's use the example of someone that's on a diet. Okay, so my reward, if I'm sitting there, if my limiting belief is I'm never going to be skinny, I'm not good enough to be skinny, I'm unworthy of being skinny, if that's my limiting belief, then the resistance that comes up might be in the craving for a donut or to cheat. Let's say the resistance that comes up is to cheat on my diet. Well, if I don't listen to my resistance, what's my reward? My immediate reward is nothing. I don't get the donut. I don't get anything. And my long-term, but I do get personal integrity, right? I have an increase of personal integrity. Long-term, I will be skinny and I will break through that limiting belief, hopefully. But short-term, if I listen to the resistance and I think, oh, it's just my intuition, and it is so silly because, like, why would your intuition tell you to eat a donut? But let's just stick with me here. My intuition says, okay, let's eat the donut. What do I get? I get to eat the donut. That's the important thing here, is that I get to eat the donut. The belief that you'll never get along with a family member, let's say your sister. Let's say you have that limiting belief about yourself. And you convince yourself that it's always her fault. You're rewarded by probably spending less time with her and having less challenging interactions, right? The belief that I had that I am not worth the 6-figure job that I have already earned. This is a big one, guys. I felt like that last week. I felt like a kid wearing their mom's clothes. Literally, that's how I felt at work. It's not a great way to show up for yourself, is it? But that's literally how I felt. So my limiting belief, even though I'd already achieved the job, even though I already achieved the salary, anyways, is I'm not worth 6 figures. 6 figures is bad. It's greedy. It's mean. It's not in alignment with my family, with how I was raised. Like, I just blew my whole family out of the water, and I'm 30, guys. Like, this is crazy. I don't think I deserve it. I really, truly don't. I still don't feel like I'm embodying it. That's the core of it. And so what happens is I'm rewarded with not having to show up and put in effort at my job. I can just show up and fuck around at my job, F around at my job, because I'm probably going to get fired anyways, right? Like, that's what happens in your brain. And even though I've never been fired from a job and I don't really believe in, like, selecting out that way, that's what happens in your brain. Like, that's how crazy this is. Let's hit another one. The belief that you'll never amount to anything successful. You'll never be able to start that job. You'll never be able to start that comic book strip, whatever, you have that car, just have a healthy family, a 5, I don't know, whatever you want, whatever success is for you. If your belief is that you'll never be able to amount to that, you've got a long list of rewards, guys. You could be rewarded with more Netflix, more vacations, more time with friends and family, like more sleep, because you're not taking that time to work on your business. There's lots of things you can do with that time. And man, who doesn't want it? Like, I'm not saying that you have to sacrifice these things, because I do believe that time, while not renewable, is abundant, and is very flexible if we're smart about it and we're not being dicks like I was all this last week. But at the end of the day, like, think about all that positive reward. Like, nobody thinks, oh, well, I'm just going to sit here and think, oh, I'm not going to be successful ever anyways. But if your brain says, if I'm going to believe that I'm not successful, then I can just opt out now and watch the Netflix and screw around on Facebook and Instagram. Like, what's the point in showing up for myself if I know it won't work anyways? If my belief says it's never going to work, why am I even trying? Let's hang out on Instagram. Let's go Netflix and chill. Like, that is what is making sense in your brain. It's positively reinforced. It's logical, and it's deep-seated in an emotional core belief that is ruining your life. So how do we know the difference? Because like, here's the thing, guys, like, I don't 100% know how we know the difference because clearly, sorry, I'm getting so fidgety here. My butt's going numb. This is a long one. I'm sorry. Hopefully you're still with me and you're enjoying it. How do we know the difference? Like, how do we really feel it? And the thing is, clearly I am not the best person to be telling you this because if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. But what I can tell you is that even when the thing that you want to do is positive or that there's a reward attached, it can still be a limiting belief. For example, spending time with family instead of working on your business. That can still be rooted in a limiting belief, even though it's a feel-good activity for everybody involved and it's going to give you a positive outcome immediately. That can still be a limiting belief. So how do we know the difference? If they both come from your brain or they both feel like they come from your gut as you're learning, how do we know the difference? What I am going to start trying to do for myself is ask myself the question, whenever something comes up, I'm going to eat some more chocolate. I'm going to go buy a pack of smokes. I'm going to have an extra glass of wine. I'm not going to go to the gym today. I'm going to fold my laundry. I'm going to meal prep, whatever it is. When that idea comes to me, the question now is, will this activity or thought move me towards my goal? Or will it detract from my goal? So if my goal this week is to work on my blog, will this activity detract from it or will it move me forward towards that goal? If my goal is to have a 6-figure business, if my goal is to be this certain, show up for myself in this certain role in my job, if my goal is to show up and be present with my family, whatever that thing is this thing that I'm thinking right now going to detract from that? Hey, don't eat that. Thank you. Sorry. And sometimes it will be yes, but it isn't a limiting belief, and that's okay. Every yes isn't going to be a limiting belief, but the point here is that you just have to question yourself a little bit more. The example that I like to use is that, like, let's think of an athlete. An athlete, once they get to a certain point in their lives, can just trust their body's instincts. Like, they don't have to think. Like, let's look at, it's hockey season right now in Winnipeg, so let's look at hockey. A goalie doesn't have to think. When they are going to make a save, they are not thinking, drop this knee, put this arm out, and slide. If they were thinking all of those things, they would not save a single goal ever at that level, right? Because they wouldn't be responding fast enough, because when you're having to stop and think about everything, it takes longer. So they're not thinking about that. They're just doing it. Their body's just reacting. It's just muscle memory. But it took them many, many, many years to get there. Many years. They did not just all of a sudden become an NHL goalie. They've practiced for basically their entire life to build that muscle memory, to train that muscle memory, so that when the time comes, they can trust it instantly. They don't have to question it. They can just go with it. And I think the mistake that I made was that I thought I could just jump to goalie. I thought I could jump to full athlete in the manifestation space and just go from never having listened to my intuition ever in my life to instantly trusting it in everything that felt good conveniently. But yet my intuition never wanted to tell me to do things like do the freaking laundry, do the dishes. My intuition was never telling me to do that. Gee, I wonder why. So like that, if we go back to the sporting example, like, it just doesn't make sense the first time you ever put goalie pads on that you're going to be an NHL performing goalie. Like, of course you're not. That just is not logical. So why did I and why do we think that we can just start down this path and then practice it for like a month and then be like, boom, I can trust my intuition every single time, no matter what. It's always going to be right. It's always my intuition. You can't. Like, that's the caveat, guys. You can't. You cannot do that. And unfortunately, I learned that the hard way. I'm hoping that you don't learn it the hard way too. But the reality is that this is the training stage. I have my training wheels on and I suck at slowing myself down. I love to skip steps. I love to go at lightning speed. But this is my reminder that I can't. This is my reminder that it is time to put the training wheels back on. And when I think I'm having an intuitive download or idea, or I think I'm tired, or like anything that just feels like not me, like it feels like it's a bit of my not self, it's time to check in. I can't just go with it and be like, oh, my not self is just telling me I'm more tired today. My intuition is just telling me I'm tired today for 4 days in a row. Probably not. So it's time for me to remember to check in, do some journaling, ask myself the question, will this detract from my goals? Yes, no, why? Why do I think I'm feeling that? Is it possible this is coming from a limiting belief? Or even less direct, is it like, what beliefs are making me feel tired right now? What beliefs are making me want my donut right now? What beliefs are wanting me to smoke, drink, whatever right now? What beliefs feel good? What beliefs don't? Just be curious about yourself, because that was what I skipped. I just went to like 0 to 60 believing myself. And guys, I don't want you to think that you can't believe your intuition, because you absolutely can. The problem is not that we can't believe in our intuition. The problem right now is that we don't know what voice is our intuition and what voice is our ego. I don't know that. I don't know the difference. What's my ego? What's my intuition? What's the little brat running rampant around in my brain? I don't know the difference. And until I know the difference, it's pretty unsafe for me to just go and follow whatever my brain pops into my heart. Because it could be from any one of those. It's like, you've got the little like devil on one side and angel on the other, except they look and sound the same. So like, how am I supposed to know what I'm following? Like, I didn't realize that there was two. I thought, hey, I've been doing all this work, I'm only going to have the angel or the intuition left. I can just trust blindly everything. But it was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I had to what I thought was an angel, but it was actually a devil on the other side, and I didn't know to question it. And I am so, so thankful to have realized this now, because like, let's long term, let's extrapolate what this does. This could have ruined my day career, because if I continue to not show up for myself without catching and realizing, no, you don't need to eat that. Let's extrapolate that just a little bit. Let's take a look at what would have happened if I hadn't nipped this in the bud and hadn't continued to work on it for, I guess all of eternity, because I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. But if I hadn't nipped this in the bud with my career, let's say my day job, then just a new 6-figure job that I have, I would have continued to not show up, like show up emotionally for myself, physically for myself. I probably would have maybe shown up late more often, maybe not done the work in the evenings, not had the creative ideas, not had the creative flow, not made good hiring decisions. And at the end of the day, had this been left unchecked, I probably would have self-sabotaged my way out of a job. The job that I am the most proud of manifesting in my entire life. It sucks. It's crazy when you really think about it. If I had not figured this out and gotten it in check for my brand, for the Fox Forward brand, I probably would have continued to not post. I would have continued to think I was tired. I would have continued to get frustrated with myself. I would have snowballed into this continual not posting, angry anxiety ball of frustration and perfectionism on myself. And it probably would have meant that the brand would have died. If I hadn't caught this within, I probably would have given myself maybe 2 more weeks of not posting before I would have gotten really, really frustrated and really struggled to get it back up and running. So it was 2 weeks, guys. It's amazing. 2 weeks can change your life. Let's look at something more severe. Let's look at indulgence in the sense of drinking, smoking, overeating. It's pretty easy for us to see, had I not nipped any of those things in the bud and continued to tie them to a negative affect. Guys, I was in for a world of pain if I hadn't caught those, because what started out as a personal development journey very quickly turned into a way for me to indulge my limiting beliefs and create negative crutches and negative emotional coping mechanisms that again could have ruined my life. We're talking about could have led to addiction. And I don't think I've got an addictive personality, but that's not the point. The point is that I was learning to avoid things that I didn't want to do by using food, alcohol, and cigarettes as a crutch. And even though right now there's nothing any super major negative going on, but guess what? Something eventually will be negative that's going to happen in my life. It's life. And what am I going to fall back on? Had I not caught this, how scary is that? This is why at the beginning of this video, I was so adamant, guys, You have got to get this. You have got to listen to this, because sure, it seems really la-di-da. Oh, you know, like this girl, she thinks she's got everything, and she just couldn't get a blog post out for a week, and whoa, like there's bigger issues in the world. And like, I know there's bigger issues in the world, but the thing is, for you, the person that is watching this video, there is not a single bigger issue in the world than your own damn future. And I am here to tell you that, and I am here to tell you that if you hit resistance on pushing play on this video, if you hit resistance on watching it all the way to the end, I promise you it's because you needed to hear this, because I hit resistance in listening to the podcast that I needed to listen to that would have helped me figure this out sooner. Last week, there was lots of podcasts that would have gotten me to this aha moment that I stopped halfway through because I was like, I don't have those beliefs anymore. I figured them out. I don't need this. Wrong. I was so wrong. So if you were that person who was like, this shit ain't for me, I don't have any limiting beliefs, I don't know what you're talking about, and you still put up with the whatever this ends up being, 40 to 50, maybe even 60 minutes of me nattering at you and kind of pseudo lecturing you, kudos to you, because you already are further ahead than I was last week and the week before that. You are already further ahead. So thank you for committing to yourself. Thank you for trusting me. I hope that this resonated with you. I know it's going to make such a huge difference in your life. Please, please, please don't let those self-limiting beliefs and that self-sabotage, please do not let that define your life. Please, this is so important. Be curious. Ask yourself the questions. If you are tired when you think you shouldn't be tired, hell, even if you're tired when you think you should be tired, why? Why am I tired? It's not as simple as just melatonin, guys. There is so much more going on in your body. If you're craving something you don't normally crave, and like listen to the signals. Like I would start to get tired right after I got an idea for a new blog post, I would get tired. Or I would crave a cigarette right after I was about to call a friend. Right? So there was always like this thing that would raise my vibration. There was this trigger point that would raise my vibration, and then there was the limiting behavior that created the resistance that followed it immediately to bring me back down. And that's where you get into the upper limit, where like I was vibrating at like, let's say, as an example, let's use temperature, 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's just where I've been my whole life. And I'm starting to do these things that are like inching me higher. And every time I was like, oh, I'm going to make this really great blog post, I know people are going to love it, that's going to put me up to 90. And my body was like, you're tired. Back down to 78. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to reconnect with this friend who I haven't seen in a while. I miss her a lot. I really want to talk to her. And that's going to bring me back up to like, let's say 88. You're going to avoid reading that message from her because maybe there's something bad in it. Boom, back down to 78 because now you're going to be mad at yourself for being a bad friend. Like, do you see how this works? Anyways, that's been a lot. I really hope that this has resonated with you. I hope that it makes sense, and I hope that you're seeing and the wheels are starting to turn. I'm hoping that I went through this 2 weeks of nonsense and this like 12 hours of hating myself, of just being a vile human to myself. I hope that I went through that so that you don't have to, so that you can learn from my mistakes. I want you to be able to recognize this so that you don't have to go down that path that I went down, potentially even further than I went down, because it sucks. And so I don't wish that on anyone. I don't wish that on you. If you think the weekly vlog is a really good idea, let me know in the comments. I will start doing it. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, please, I would love to keep the conversation going. I just want to stop talking your ear off. So please throw it in the comments below, and I promise I will try to keep a really close eye on them, and hopefully you guys will answer each other. But also, I really want to engage with you. I really want to keep this conversation going because I think it's like one of the most important conversations that we can be having, to be honest. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm grateful for you. I hope this helps, and have a good night. Bye.